Hey, BTC fam, it's amazing to observe reality itself. I'm an empiricist. I like to see, to touch, to hear, to observe the reality itself through our senses. That's how humans have been successful. You know, that's the difference between an ape and a human. A human can build a castle, and apes can't even do mud huts. A human can build a giant cathedral and paint it precisely to the touch, paint a whole lifetime of pictures in the ceiling of a well-built 5-story cathedral in the 11th century. That differentiates people from animals. Why am I saying that? Because you have to observe reality, perform mathematical calculations, and do a blueprint in architecture, engineering, thousands of years of human knowledge to apply that to build that infrastructure. Okay, when you understand or begin to fathom reality, you understand that it finally clicks. You heard it in middle school, but it didn't quite click, did it? Because you didn't have the life experience. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred, channeled. You do the synonym, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred, channeled, moved. But it cannot be created nor destroyed. You begin to understand that the laws of physics and thermodynamics cannot be dodged. The laws of physics and thermodynamics cannot be avoided. Economists play all their mumbo-jumbo animal spirits game. By the way, that's a real term by Keynesian economics. Animal spirits. Look that up. That's a whole can of worms. Of course, our economic system was built on lies that have nothing to do with reality. Austrian economics is actually how the world works, how the universe works, respecting the laws of physics, engineering, thermodynamics. That's Austrian economics. It's just economics. We say Austrian economics because you have to differentiate from the Keynesian, John Maynard Keynes economy side. And it's amazing that Keynesian economics are like apes. They don't really take into account reality. They don't take into consideration with the real world, right? Architecture, engineering. I go back to engineering a lot because it all connects. The entire human civilization is engineered. Roads, infrastructure, churches, you name it. Electrical grid, the plumbing grid, anything and everything that makes humanity advanced what it is today, and it will be much more advanced in 200 years. But anything that is actually of impact in human society was engineered, took very high IQ individuals. We stand on the shoulder of giants. We stand on the shoulders of giants. That's why we must honor our ancestors. We must study history and see who's who and what's what, because then we can actually build on truth. Now, this ties back to Bitcoin being the immutable truth, because Bitcoin enforces, obeys, and embodies the laws of physics and thermodynamics. E equals mc squared. Again, it's one of the middle school terms that you hear but you don't fathom. It doesn't click until you grow up, until you listen to some advanced lectures on economics. You have world experiences of working, making your wages, making your money, spending proof of work, your ATP, your energy to acquire goods and services, to feed your children, right? When it clicks, you're like, Bitcoin is it. Bitcoin is it. There is no other monetary asset that is worth my energy. People work for 35 years. They work for 35 years until they retire for money that's printed out of thin air. That is pure insanity. There is absolutely, well, there are other things more insane, I guess, but that's, for normal people with room temperature IQ or higher, why would you work for money that's printed by the banksters out of thin air? Oh, because we're not educated. I stand corrected. When I have nightmares, it's me back in high school. I'm like, take me out of this prison. This is a hellhole. The bathrooms are disgusting. I love my friends. Some of my teachers were great. But the indoctrination camp factor of modern day school is sad. Because I just wanted to do stuff with my hands. If you had given me a hammer and a nail and said, here, Gus, build this. I'm like, oh, okay, the instructions are here, thank you. I would gladly build something with my hands. Carpentry, that's the word I was looking for. Carpentry. I did some electrical work in high school because I went to a technical high school. And it was fun. But then that aspect of it ended, and then the academics began. And God bless you if you're into that, math and algebra and architect. It's not for me. But it was awesome when I got to work with my hands because everyone wants to do what they're interested in, right? Humans love doing what they are good at. How that ties into Bitcoin is that we're not educating the children as to what is money. We spend 35 plus years working for money that we don't even understand what it is, right? The founding fathers said in the Constitution, Google this right now, ChatGPT, Gemini, Google Gemini, whatever you use, Grok from Elon Musk, whatever AI you use, Google it or use the AI. Ask them, what does the founding fathers in the United States Constitution say is money? Let me help. The founding fathers of these United States, the geniuses, the giants whose shoulders we stand on, they said, the only thing that is money is gold and silver. Nothing else. Nothing else is money. Because the founding fathers knew that paper IOUs are issued by bankster cartels who take custody of your valuables, right? They safeguard it, which was great back in the day, but now we don't really need it because everything is digital. Bitcoin is digital gold. Not only is Bitcoin digital gold, but Bitcoin has all 6 characteristics of sound money. The past 5 years of my life, since 2020, specifically like before the pandemic began, during and after, I have been diving deep into Bitcoin. I study C++, such a simple computing language. Google is built in C++, YouTube, Facebook, all C++. C++ is a very compact, simple language. And that's how Bitcoin was written. Anyone can learn C++. The code is open source. It's a distributed, worldwide distributed ledger with nodes, hundreds of thousands of nodes throughout the world, millions of miners. The miners are the actual nodes protecting the network itself. And then every time you see Bitcoin being attacked, you're like, okay, Bitcoin's dead now, right? Bitcoin absorbs the attack. Its immune system adapts and embodies the attack. And Bitcoin becomes the attacker. It's like the 1950s movie, The Blob. It's a blob that falls from the sky and it's just eating everything. Watch, it's from the 1950s. It's hilarious. It's funny because the graphics are ridiculous. Like, we do much better work now, but it was kind of fun for the times. The blob falls from the sky, like this alien blob is just eating infrastructure, building cars, and it gets bigger and stronger and faster and bigger and stronger until it kills the world, right? It's just a cute little horror movie from the 50s. Bitcoin is like the literal computing blob. Not only it embodies, absorbs the attacks from its attackers, all of a sudden now, Bitcoin is spreading throughout every banking institution, every corporation now. They not only buy Bitcoin, they run a node. BlackRock has their Bitcoin node to broadcast their transactions on. Fidelity has a Bitcoin node. I've never thought in the past 4 years, if you told me Fidelity and BlackRock would be into Bitcoin, I would have left. I would have left so hard thinking that you were telling me a joke. Lo and behold, Fidelity and BlackRock are here. Citigroup, Bank of America now are in talks with Michael Saylor. Bitcoin is amazing. So read a little bit about Bitcoin, and this is purely for my friends and family, yada yada, for my children to watch one day if I'm gone. It's just insurance that they will, be working for something that matters, not banking notes, not fiat currency, not the ruble, not the real, not the yen, not the dollar, not the trash the banks print out of thin air, unbacked by anything. Guys, once you realize this, I obsessed over the fact that I still do. I obsess over the fact that innocent people, hardworking people, are working for something that is printed out of thin air. I have compassion in my heart, guys. And it gets to the point you're telling everyone, and it's like, oh, people don't care, whatever. I've brought a little bit less than a dozen people into the network. I've probably preached to hundreds of people online. I have 22,000 followers on X, Twitter. Give me a follow at Scavacini777, at Scavacini777. But where if you go on Bitcoin Twitter, the Bitcoiners are the most loving people. The Bitcoiners are the most kind, empathetic individuals I've met in my life, and they're always open to help. Go on YouTube. There's plenty of videos, but get into Bitcoin, man, before the damn thing explodes to 10 million. A million, 10 million. The sky's the limit, because banks won't stop printing money. So everything's going up against the dollar, right? Housing, stocks, bonds, everything's going up against the dollar, except Bitcoin is going to explode against the dollar, because there's only only going to be 21 million of them. Houses can be built. Gold can be mined forever, right? Gold can be mined forever. No, there's a finite amount. Okay, sure. They've been saying we're going to run out of gold for 100 years now. We're going to run out of oil. They've been saying that for 50 years. We're not running out of it. There's other habitable planets we're going to be able to explore soon with robots. Wake up. Bitcoin is the only finite asset known to man. 21 million forever. And 4 million have already been lost from people who mined it and lost it. From people who were gifted it and lost it. So, God bless you, BTC fam. Love you.